Good afternoon and welcome to this week's Living on the Wire, our league's inside look at what's happening in the waiver wire. And this week there's got a lot of actions, a lot of players picked up. I was greeted to message this morning of 11 players picked up in that first wave. And we're going to have a look at those 11 players and then a couple of players that were picked up in the scramble just after that. So, I've not got any anecdotes about strange naked children or firefighters this morning. So let's just go straight into our waiver wire. And first up, we've got the big bid boys, and we've got a big bid here for Mike Boone. There was a few people after Mike Boone, and I can understand why. With injury in the Denver Broncos running back room, Mike Boone looked like being elevated into that #1 spot, where he'll almost certainly pick you up a few points every week. So a great backup or possibly even flex option there. And I can see exactly why Andy's gone for him. But he has had to pay almost double what Robin was bidding for him as the second bid. And so he's used up a lot of cash there he probably didn't have to. And I guess time's going to tell whether or not that was a smart bid. But nice to see Andy ponying up some cash. The next one, Taysom Hill, I believe he's just been added to his fourth team after being drafted by Allen right at the start. And he can always get chucked into weird, bizarre plays, being a kind of quarterback tight end hybrid. So Steve will be hoping for a touchdown sort of high for him, a touchdown ceiling for him. However, with so many teams having added him and then dropped him, I'm wondering if those other people will be thinking the same. And with $23 paid and nobody else bidding, is that going to look like good value for Steve's cash? Then another tight end picked up. So Gary and the Blobfish picking up a tight end, and they possibly have done a smart move picking up Will Dissly here, as he is ranked number 10 in PPR leagues and inside the top 10 for standard scoring leagues. He seems to be doing a really good job just out of nowhere for that Seattle Seahawks team. Maybe Big Gino, just a fan, and particularly with the way they play. Scrambling offense, just trying to get forward as often as possible and score as many points as possible. I mean, look at this weekend, for example. Could be a good bid there, but with $21 paid and no one else bidding, he's going to have to do something pretty special, I think, gents. And on to the little biddy boys. So these players coming in a lot cheaper, but actually more hotly contested. We've got Robin's first pickup of Caleb Huntley. That looks like a smart move from Robin, who, knowing too well, has lost Cordero Patterson. So she grabbed Caleb Huntley, who looks like he'll be joining that running back room, filling in for Patterson. He got quite a lot of points there coming on for him, and everybody's raving about how well he did, and good chance he will pick up some more points for you. So that'll be good cover in the meantime. And having only paid $15 and fighting off other bidders, should be quite happy with that. And our price for a player drop, Javonte Williams, of course, who is the reason that Denver Broncos running back room's in a little bit of chaos just now. And Latavius Murray with a solid first showing back as running back for the Saints. And then, what do you know? All of a sudden, he's picked up by the Denver Broncos off the practice squad. And it'll be interesting to see how much he's used. I lost out on him myself. I just wasn't willing to throw down quite that much money before we actually know how he's going to get used in that running back room. But interesting there, Jago's gone for him. Could be a really smart use in the flex or a good cover on your bench for these bye weeks coming up, especially with Williams out injured. But he's the player that might possibly make Downey's 32 bid for Boone look like maybe not quite as smart a deal, as they possibly could be sharing a lot of time on the field. Next one up, Greg picking up Geno Smith. I'm pretty jealous of this one. Geno's gone under the radar a little bit this season, but that's a high-scoring Seattle Seahawks offense, and Geno's at the heart of it. He just doesn't make mistakes, and he's picking up points. I kind of wish I had him myself for backup or even possibly to replace Carr, but I didn't bid high enough. I was just a little bit too shy with my money, and Well done to Greg. That's a handy player you managed to pick up there, as long as he keeps playing the way he has been. And then finally, on this week 4's Little Bitty Boys, Alan paying $5 to pick up the Jags D. Nothing too exciting there, just switched out for the Broncos D. And I suppose it's all about matchups and trying to squeeze that extra point or two out of the defense to try and help you pick up that first win. Then the cheapest chips, these bids that come in for a couple of dollars. You've got Steve picking up Carson Wentz, placing for Baker Mayfield. There's not really a lot in that. It's a pretty mediocre to poor quarterback for another pretty poor, mediocre quarterback. But there was a couple of bids there, so quite interesting. Some love for Carson Wentz, who I suppose is a bit more capable of getting a higher score than Mayfield, although not consistently. And then Allen, opportunistic Allen, taking advantage of the fact that Tua is probably going to be missing for a week or two through the concussion protocols, getting Teddy Bridgewater. He does have some great weapons to throw to. I'm just hoping that he connects with Hill. Fuck you, Mikey. I hope he doesn't throw anything to Waddle. And then Steve picking up Isaiah Pacheco. This guy, I feel like I have to say this guy's name every week because he's getting picked up by people and having deja vu. He did a bit better this past week. He actually got on, got some snaps, got some playing time. And so if he can keep that up, he's a handy player for anyone's bench and possible flex option if you've got injuries. And then Allen, again, scooping up another kicker, doing the kicker swap. Greg ain't got no legs, he's been dropped, and he's bringing in Jason Myers. With the Seahawks picking up as many points as they are, it makes sense to have a kicker that's going to get lots of opportunities to kick you those extra points. So if they keep scoring, hopefully for Allen, his kicker will too. And again, it's those defenses, those kickers that sometimes can give you that extra little point, get you across the finishing line. Allen will be looking for that first win this week. And the also-rans, not much to say here. Cooper Rush has been doing okay. Telfy's scooped him up there for his bench. But you know, that's only going to last a few more weeks until their quarterback, Dak Prescott, comes back. And then Mikey, again, just streaming defenses. You pick the best matchup for the week, picking up the Titans for his team. And then, of course, after my trade with Robin and a little gap in my team, I scrambled around looking for running backs, anything to replace Swift while he's out, as it looks like I'll be missing him until after the bye week. So it looks like I'm going to need a running back for the next couple of weeks. And that's the look at the waiver wire this week. A little insight into the players that have been picked up, the teams that have picked them up, and the bids that they came up against. Now, one last little look at the waiver wire. Downey's the big spender with $32, but as I said, the Denver Broncos picking up another running back. It could be that that's not quite as good a deal as he first thought, but it's nice to see Downey moving from the you tried and up to the big spender and finally landing his man. Who knows, maybe it was even these constant awards that made him think he had to pony up all that extra cash. Ross is still saving up $110 after taking that loss. He'll maybe be thinking about those bye weeks coming and spending that money a bit more wisely to pick up players when he needs them, rather than scrambling around just trying to pick up a win like myself and Alan. And then finally, you tried. Didn't want to put myself here. It broke my heart a little bit, but I did try desperately to pick up a running back and failed twice. And I did try and pick up a better quarterback and failed again. So I wasn't very successful, even though I did get a couple of running backs to try and choose from at the end there. They weren't who I was after, I'm not going to lie. But anyway, may the fantasy gods be kind. Except to Mikey. Fuck you, Mikey.